The story how Kerala came is like Parashurama. He after killing the Kshatriyas, so he wanted to let Brahmins come and stay in a place, and that he asked sea god to give land. So it seems he through his acts, and then that much area was given by the sea god, and that is how he established Kerala. Next to my home, where I am settled now, there is one Shiva temple, and they say that the Prana Pradishta was done by Parashurama himself.
Oh, you're
So
very
that
fortunate
is-
to stay
Yes.
next to that. Yeah.
Yes. So that is how Kerala came.
Namaste. In this episode, we bring you a very special interview, our very first at Āścarya. We delve into a subject that's both timely and timeless, yet not widely understood in its entirety: the spiritual heritage of Kerala. Well, many of us are very familiar with temples in Kerala, like those in Guruvayur, Thiruvananthapuram, Thrissur, and Shabarimala, of course. Kerala's legacy extends far beyond these landmarks. The story of how this land came into existence itself is a captivating journey through history and tradition. Joining us today is a very special guest who has a devoted Sanatani and who has a deep passion for Hindu traditions and beliefs. She is a scientist with a PhD in chemistry from IISc Bangalore, and she has worked in pharmaceutical R&D functions for several years. So we take pleasure in inviting Syamala to this show to share with us her knowledge about Kerala and what she understands about the land she's from. So welcome Syamala to our show. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you, Sukanya. It has been a pleasure interacting with you and your interest in these areas, and I was also exploring a little bit now that I am back in Kerala. I am getting more insights about what's happening in Kerala, temples, and what is the concepts behind all these utsavas and the temple architecture and everything, and it has been very nice experience.
So it's very interesting to it'll be very interesting to hear from you how you got interested in this area of temples, culture and tradition. I mean, considering that you are a very staunch believer and you're practicing a lot of these in the background of your professional qualifications, because you are a PhD, you have done from IISc, one of the premier institutes, and you have been a professional for several years outside Kerala, that too. But here you are back in Kerala and practicing all this with single-hearted passion. So it will be very interesting for us to hear your journey and what got you into all this and where is it taking you.
So my background is not at all anything related to any Hindu practices or anything, but growing up in 70s and 80s in Kerala, the society was changing, so it has an impact on our exposure to Hindu traditions also. But classical dance and classical music, those are very actively performed and followed in Kerala. So that gave us some background to explore further. But then moving out of Kerala and staying in different places, something was very fascinating for me is the temples outside Kerala looked very different from temples inside that I am familiar with.
True, absolutely true.
Yeah, so I was curious but never got time to go deeper. Now I have come back and settled in Kerala. So I have seen that many practices are still being followed in Kerala, which we will go in detail one by one. So I think why Kerala is different is because Kerala is separated from other parts of India by these Western Ghats.
Mountains, yes.
So it had its own culture and worship practices, and the society dressing itself, more white. Now it has changed, but Kerala traditionally is white-based dresses and all that. So and food habits, everything is slightly different.
I think we've also seen most of the festivals that are common across the rest of India. They are not really celebrated, if you get what I mean.
Yes.
Plus, as you said, white is not something which people outside of Kerala wear, especially for let's say functions, auspicious occasions, but that is a must for you all.
Yes.
So a lot of very stark differences in the practices of what you all do in that state, whereas what the rest of India does. Yeah, so it's actually a very interesting way to start the conversation.
Yeah. So the story how Kerala came is like Parashurama. He after killing the Kshatriyas, so he wanted to let Brahmins come and stay in a place, and that he asked sea god to give land. So it seems he threw his axe, and then that much area was given by the sea god, and that is how he established Kerala. Even now there are so many Parashurama the temples which are the Pradishta, the consecration done by Parashurama.
Oh wow.
Even next to my home, where I am settled now, there is one Shiva temple, and they say that the Prana Pradishta was done by Parashurama himself.
Oh, you're so very fortunate to stay next to that. Yeah.
Yes. So that is how Kerala came, and when you see Kerala, I mean, broadly we can divide Kerala temples into 3 types. Okay, so the Mahakshetras are those that you mentioned, the Guruvayur temple, Padmanabha Swami temple, but again the border. The areas which are border to Karnataka or Tamil Nadu, they have a mixed architecture, whereas interior it is more
the pure play ones are very different.
Yes. So for example, Guruvayur is a typical example. It is a Mahakshetra. I think 100% Kerala architecture is followed in that construction. So Mahakshetra, at one extreme you have these Mahakshetras, and then the other extreme you have this very small kavu. In Tamil Nadu also they call it kavu, I think. Kavus are deities, they are exposed to sunlight, rain, everything, under a tree. There may be a small platform. Whereas Mahakshetra is traditional Kerala palace structure. So
probably the word kavu, there is connection to the Tamil word kaval, that is protecting. Kaval means you protect. I mean, when you said the outside in that exposed to this thing, so they probably are like village deities protecting the people. So it must be a variation of
some
that.
tribes will have their own Bhagavati under a tree, and then they worship, that community will worship. So if we go to Mahakshetra, we will get a full picture. Then we can come in between the small temples which have taken both, and then sometimes how Kavus evolve into Mahakshetras also over a period of time.
Right.
So Mahakshetras are like, they call it Pancha Prakaras. That is 5 enclosures. So first enclosure is the Garbhagriha, which in Malayalam we call it Sri Kovil. Okay, and then the next outside it is Nalambalam. Outside that Vilakkumadam, then Matilakam and Purammadil. So let us approach it from Purammadil. So that is the like. So if you compare the structure, it is like a palace itself. Okay. So the king is inside. and his guards, ministers, all of them are
First
placed
line
in
of defense, second line of defense,
exactly.
like that.
So they are placed in different places. So the Puram Matil, the compound wall, can be compared to the compound wall of a
Fortress.
Yeah, something. And so that will have an entrance. Some temples have two entrances. So that is called Rajagopuram.
Okay.
So the Rajagopuram is the entrance. Then you enter to the large courtyard in a Mahakshetra. So that large courtyard has certain structures. Before I go to the Pancha Prakara, I should tell you what are the some concept about Balikal. I don't know if that is common in any other temples outside Kerala. So Bali means ultimate sacrifice.
Right.
So Balikal means it's a specifically shaped small stones which are placed in certain places inside the compound wall, and then very close to the Sri Kovil, Garbhagruham also. So these Balikals can be Ashtadikpalakas, that is near the Sri Kovil. And then there are something called Saptamatas, the seven
Devis.
Matas.
Yeah.
Like I forgot all
Varahi
the names.
is also,
Varahi.
I think it's there in some temples in Tamil Nadu. I've seen this.
So that is very easy to find because on one stone there will be 9 linga shaped. It's called Kurabimba. So 7 will be together and there will be 2 more extra. So total 9.
Protecting them.
So the one is Lord Veerabhadra.
Okay.
And the other one is Ganapati.
Oh, okay.
And then the Ashtadikpalakas are, like on the east Indra, then south, Lord Yama, and like that, all the Agni, Devan, everyone is placed in certain places. And then, what about the top and bottom directions? So top is Lord Brahma, and bottom is Ananta.
Okay.
So because you cannot put it on top and bottom, they are also placed in that side, specific places.
Okay.
So when you take a Pradakshinam, you make sure that you do Pradakshinam with the Balikal coming on your right side.
Okay.
So that is how it is. So then outside Balikals are mainly, the guards, the chief army. If we compare with the palace, the chief of army can be considered as the protector of the temple. So there will be a big Balikal, and sometimes on top of that there will be a roof. It is called Balikal Pura. So this big Balikal is the chief of army, and whatever is offered to the main deity, this Valiya Balikal they call it, there also they have to do it. So it's a very important part of the temple. Then there are, lot of Dwarapalakas, all those. Depends upon who's the main deity.
Okay.
And each deity will have their own watchmen. Like
Right. Yeah, very interesting to hear. While I'm not an authority on how, for example, I come from Tamil Nadu, but I have seen some of the things what you have said in some temples, but I am not an authority, so for me it's interesting to hear. There are parallels definitely. So, this is, I think you have described very nicely how the temple is structured.
Okay, the Pancha Prakara I'll just complete. So the outside compound wall, 5th. 4th is the Matilaka. That is inside the Madil, inside the compound wall. Right. So that area has the Balikals also. Then comes Vilakkumadam. So you would have seen in Kerala, surrounding the temple there are
like
lamps.
wall thing, very nice. It looks very beautiful
like this,
when lit. Slatted wall kind of.
So that is Vilakkumadam. So in the evening they light it up full. And then there is Nalambalam. Nalambalam is just like how a traditional Kerala house will be. So it's all the four sides there are structures, and so that is the third one, and then inside that is the fourth one, and inside is the Agate Belivattam. The Bali cults in the inside.
Okay.
All that together, the circle that consists of the whole thing. Center of that is Garbhagriha.
Okay.
So this Nalambalam has the entrance on both sides. For example, in Guruvayur you will see two platforms where in a typical temple they do Namajapam and all that there. So that is called Valiyambalam.
Okay.
Then the three sides, the other three sides together called Chuttambalam.
Okay.
And then on the southeast side there is something called Tidappalli, where the Naivedyam, everything is prepared, Homam is done, everything.
Okay.
And southwest I think there is the temple well where they take water
for the
all these
rituals and
purposes.
all.
And then the Balikals are there. Upadevadas, sub-deities will be placed according whichever the sub-deity is. And inside is Sri Kovil.
Okay.
The entrance to Sri Kovil, the steps, it's called Sopana. So that is the brief overall structure.
How they are structured. Very interesting, and I mean, yeah, I think probably I have some of the temples other outside Kerala may also have a similar kind of a structure, but
Yes, Mookambika is more or less
the same
very
kind of
similar.
a thing.
Yeah.
I can only think of Sri Rangam temple, which is a big example of this. It has multiple layers, but of course the size is very, very different. Yeah, so that's, I mean, I'm sure there will be parallels at, how these temples are structured to other parts of the country. So going inside the Garbhagriha, the Shri Kovil, right? So how do the deities, like the Vigrahas, for example, in most temples outside you find there's a concept of Moolavar and Utsava, that is the main deity which is not immovable, it is attached to the Garbhagriha, and then you have the Utsava deity, which is invariably it's made out of this Panchaloha, that is a 5 metal combination. So that is used for Utsavams. These are, I think, temples where probably Agama Shastras are in place, so they have specific rituals and pujas and Utsavams things to be done. So the worship is done to the main deity. Some kinds of worship are done on the main deity and some on the Utsava deity. So how is it in Kerala? Is it the same type or?
Yes, more or less. So I was talking to Sri Palakol Praveen Nambudiri, who has written a book on Kerala, Introduction to Kerala Temples in Malayalam.
Oh, okay, nice.
So I gather whatever I described just now, it's all because I translated the book for him.
Oh, fantastic.
English. Yeah.
So that's very nice. I mean, like, so has this translation already been published or?
It's in process. I completed that first draft, so he's going through it and taking inputs from some more experts.
Okay.
And then I think in another couple of months we will finalize it.
Oh, that is very nice. So high congratulations in advance.
Thank you.
So for the benefit of our viewers, we'll post the link to the original book in the description box. So please feel free to check it out, and it's in Malayalam, so if you happen to know Malayalam, you can pick up a copy. And whenever Syamala's English translation hits the shops, we'll also share the link in our comments box later. So please you can check it out and buy it if you're interested. He also has a YouTube channel, I understand. So I'll also share the link to his channel in the description box along with the book, name of the book. Those who are interested, it will be in Malayalam primarily. So if you are interested, you can. I'm sure there are tons of solid information in those different videos. So those of you who are interested can free to check it out. So going back to our conversation, you talked about the way temples are structured. So what about in the Garbhagriha, normally in other temples, let's say for example in Tamil Nadu and I think even in Karnataka, you have this concept of this Moolavar and Utsavar, where Moolavar is attached to the Garbhagriha and Utsavar is made of primarily Panchaloha, the metal, and that is used to, that's taken out of the Garbhagriha and it participates in Utsavams and other kind of festivals associated with the temple. So how does it work in the Kerala scenario?
So yeah, in Kerala also we have an Utsava Bimbam, which is also called Tidamba.
Okay.
So that is taken by for the procession, and even inside the temple there is a process called Shiveli, Shri Bali.
Okay.
Bali means ultimate sacrifice, but here it's like the king, the main deity, is coming to see that all his other Upadevatas, Parivara Devatas, all are well taken care. So the main Shanti, we call the main priest, will carry the Tidamba, and with the music and all that they go around. On the way they offer the prasadam, the naivedyam, to each of those balikal.
Okay.
So this, so that is Tidamba. So Tidamba is, I think it is in Panchaloha only, as in Tamil Nadu temple. The most temples, old temples at least, I think the Vigraham is in Krishna Shila, the black stone.
Okay.
Yeah. And you will see in Guruvayur, every time Guruvayurappan is decorated with sandal paste in a different way.
Okay.
So they will say, when you enter, they will say, today he is Uni Krishna. So with the sandal paste they make the shape on this Shila as and then sometimes there will be two Vigrahams inside the temple. So one will be like the main one, but when you do Abhishekam, for example, if it is clay based or wood based and all that, it will get decayed.
Yeah.
So they have, so most of them are only one Vigraham, then it is called Ekapera Vigraham, I think.
Okay.
The
so
other
that is
one
stone
is,
usually.
Yeah. So other one is called Bahubera, means if it is wood, then you don't want to pour all these Abhishekams on that. So all the, you take the Chaitanyam from the main Vigraham and to this second Vigraham and do all the puja, abhishekam, everything, and then do the thing. So another thing about Kerala temples is, so I was discussing with Sri Praveen Nambudiri. So he said that most people told me, that's why this topic came between us, like Kerala temples are Tantric.
Right.
Whereas
yes, that was another aspect I was planning to ask about.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So whereas the other outside Kerala, more it's Vedic way of rituals. So he said
what we call as Agama rituals.
Agama.
Yeah.
So what he told me is it's a mix of both. You can roughly say it is 70-30 or something like that. 70% Tantric and
okay.
So Veda mantras are there, Agama Shastras are also taken, but the basic texts he mentioned are like Tantra Samuchayam and Prapancha Sara Tantra, that is by Sri Shankaracharya himself.
Oh, okay.
So that, though he mentioned a few other texts also. So these are the basic texts they followed for Puja Paddhati in temples, and then Puja Paddhati also changes depending upon which deity and for example there are special pujas. For example in Guruvayur there is Udayastamana Puja. So that is all the pujas that will happen from morning to the, so it's a Mahakshetram, so 5 pujas. So all that somebody will be doing, offering, sponsoring.
Okay.
So there are many such variations, and one more thing very different from Kerala and other places is we don't have Shaivites, Vaishnavites, Shakteyas as separate communities.
Okay.
All are mixed
I see.
So
Okay.
even temple you can see that. For example, near my home there is a place called Trikkangodu. There is an Irattamurti temple.
Okay.
So in the Vigraham, in the Sri Kovil itself, there are two, there is Shiva and Vishnu.
Oh, okay.
I don't think this is there in other places.
I think next to each other, I don't know, but we have temples where, for example, Ekambareshwar temple, it's one of the Panchabhuta Sthalas, it's in Kanchipuram, very famous Shiva temple. So the main Garbhagriha is, of course, the Shiva Lingam is there. So maybe about 10 meters away is a big Vishnu Vigrahas there, Sannadhi is there. And this is one of the 108 Divya Deshams, which is very auspicious for a practicing Vaishnavite. So when you have, if you have to go and visit the temple as part of your visiting all the 108 Divya Deshams, you have to go see the Shiva temple and then do the Pradakshina and then come out and see the Vishnu temple, which is in the same enclosure that way. So very few, there are a few instances. Chidambaram has one Sannadhi for Vishnu, but they are Sannadhis, but you mentioned they are next to each other, so I really don't know.
So that's why it's called Iratta. Iratta means double. So Irattamurti. Murti means Vigraha, temple. And Ayyappa himself is a combination of Shiva and
Shiva,
Vishnu.
correct.
And then like Vadakunatha temple, you have Shiva and Parvati.
Right, Ardhanarishwara.
Facing
each.
Different directions.
Oh, okay.
Behind Shiva.
Okay.
So something like that.
I mean, I know there are temples where they face each other across like that.
This one is like
he's giving Shiva is giving Upadesham to Parvati and she's listening like that. But I have not heard of them with backs to each other. It's not.
So that is something. I think this is something different from other temples in other states.
Okay, yeah, that's interesting to hear.
Yeah.
So So how is it? I mean, like, is there? We have seen a lot of these temple festivals and all that. I mean, like, for the way they are celebrated, for instance, in Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, they are quite similar. But as we discussed earlier, it's very different in Kerala. I mean, for example, the Thrissur, it's very popular, a line of those elephants, very beautifully decorated. So that's part of the Thrissur Pooram festival, right? In Guruvayur also, I think they have something similar. So it's very elegantly done. I mean, it's very colorful and beautiful, but it's very different. So maybe you can tell us how different is it and why is it so different in terms of, I mean, why do they do it differently?
Yeah, so Utsavam in local, the term for Utsavam is Pooram.
Okay.
So that's why Thrissur
I was not aware of this.
Yeah, Utsavam is also known, but mostly we
popularly
tell
called
Pooram.
as Pooram.
So Pooram is a big thing. And each region has a temple, and that Pooram for that temple will be a big deal.
Okay.
So recently in our village there is a Chenekattur Kava Bhadrakali temple. So from 7 deshams there is competition between the deshams, and that it was going on for 1 month.
Oh, okay.
And it's like Durga Puja in Calcutta, or Vignesh, that Ganapati Puja in Maharashtra. So everybody is so excited, and every day there is programs, traditional programs as well as modern Gana Mela, all those things.
Okay.
Ballet and all that. So in Guruvayur also there is Utsavam, and then you must have heard about Pongala, Attukal Pongala.
Attukal, yes.
The Bhagavati in Attukal. Yes. So that is also only for women.
Yeah, a few of my friends did visit Trivandrum a few years ago. Yeah. So that was the first time I heard about this, and then I've been hearing a lot more about it. But it's very fascinating that you mentioned just now. It's a ladies' function, right? Yes. So maybe
they call it Shabarimala of women or something that. Because Shabarimala, young women are not allowed to go. So here men are not allowed to go.
So
on
some parallels with Shabarimala.
So women, they will block the entire street because
they come out onto the roads.
All the celebrities, everybody come with their pot, bricks and the firewood, and they cook this one, and the priest will come and bless. The thing.
That's nice. I mean, it's like a nice concept of it's like a community gathering. So and it's women centric. Men are not allowed. So and they kind of I think all strangers will probably get together and do this. So it must be quite fun actually.
Even
going beyond the religious implications.
Yes.
So that's very interesting.
Even the process of traveling itself is very, nice. You get together a few ladies. So from my place to Tirunelveli, if we take a train, it is overnight. So all of us together we can go. I haven't gone, but I plan to go. I was outside Kerala until now. So that is one thing. And then Thrissur, of course, it is very famous. And then...
This is done at which temple in Thrissur?
It is Vadakkunatha temple. But there are 3 temples. So the elephants come from all these 3 temples. So Tiruvambadi, Paramekkavu and Vadakkunatha.
And then they gather at one place. I see. Okay. Nice.
And then there is Guruvayur Utsavam. That also, I think 8 days or 10 days or something. Starts with Aane Autumn. There's a competition with the elephants. Some running the competition. And then all those days, Guruvayur temple gives traditional way of kanji and in a arecanut leaf thing, and then with the jackfruit leaf you have to drink it. Something like that. It's a very good experience. And and the 8th day is very important among those days. Guruvayur. And this most of the Bhagavati temples have this Poorams. So we were discussing previously about Theyyams and all these. So there are many forms of that, So Theyyam is a
the dance form, right?
Dance form, which you said it became very famous after Suresh Gopi's movie.
There was a reference somewhere that he in the early stages of his career he demonstrated Theyyam. So continuing along the topic of Poorams, one of the images that is visuals rather that is stuck in my mind is the Chendai Melam, the drums which accompany the elephant procession, or even in general association with Kerala temples. So that's also very unique. You don't, those kind of drums are not so common, at least the way they do it also. So I think even the music and the art forms associated with temples and with the Hindu religion in Kerala are also quite different. I think there is a vast art form that is in practice there, very actively practiced. So I'm sure viewers will be very interested to know a little bit about these art forms and the music association.
So in general, for these art forms, we can call it Kshetra Kalas. So one classical one will be Kudiyattam. Kudiyattam, and then later from that something else emerged that is called Ottanthullal. So these are like all related to our Purana stories and all that.
And where is it performed, inside or outside? Inside.
Kudiyattam is always inside the temple. So they construct a place called Kootambalam. The structure itself, it's very difficult to construct nowadays. How many people know the Vastu of how to make it, we don't know. So the Kootambalam is designated for performing Kudiyattam. And among Kudiyattam also there are many different types. Like for example, Kootu, Chakyar Kootu. Then ladies perform Nangyar Kootu. And all that.
So this is done for some specific occasion, or why do they perform this dance?
So these are done as offering. It's not a specific festival.
So it can happen anytime. So
Krishna Nattam in Guruvayur, for example. That is more or less like Kathakali. Actually, Kathakali is a mix of Krishna Nattam and Ramanattam. Then it emerged. So the Krishna Nattam is now performed only inside Guruvayur temple. Inside. where the elephants and all will be there.
Right.
There they conduct.
Okay.
On the other side, there is Kutambala, where Kudiyatam is performed.
In Guruvayur temple.
Inside the temple.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Next time I should visit. I should see.
Yeah. So then Autandullal, everything, there are lot of, you will see in Guruvayur stages outside.
I've seen people performing.
Yes.
That, yeah.
So there you have all these performances like other Autandullal. Now associated with temple festivals, you must have seen Kantara, right?
Yeah.
So Kantara has certain forms.
Right.
Certain people who go into trance state and all that. So you have many such forms in North Kerala. So starting from Palakkad, my state, to Kannur. So for example, recently the temple festival in our village. So they come Putam and Tara. They come, and when they come, there is somebody called Velichapada. He comes with the Bhagavati's sword and the chelambu, and he comes and so every house will keep nell in a para. It's a measurement vessel.
Okay.
So it has to overflow. And then he comes and he blesses. Then we keep some money. So there is that, and then there is somebody called Vellat. They all come and they have a specific way of movement.
Okay.
So they come to each house. And so they have to cover the entire, in these days, every house they have to cover.
So they are associated with a specific temple.
Okay. Yes. So these are different communities. So I don't know exactly which community does what, but everybody will not be doing that.
Right.
Each community has their rights.
But these are some traditional ways of devotion. So,
yeah. For example, in Kannur, there is Muttappan. That I think it is by the Vannan community only, I think, or Tiya community or something.
Okay.
So they, people really go to them and they talk to the Muttappan and then get blessing. All these things are very much alive.
I think this is quite, there are parallels to this in Karnataka, definitely. South Karnataka, for example, Udupi, Mangalore region, this is Kantara, that setting is there.
Yes.
It's very popular there. So I have myself seen in Udupi some things, similar things like this. Tamil Nadu is also very common. I've seen this when I was growing up itself. These things happen in Devi temples, like Amman temples, what we call them. So where the priest, he gets possessed and they give vak, that is, they talk about, they predict things to happen, or they pass observations on certain things that have happened. So a lot of, and it is quite genuine because the person does not know, you can see afterwards when he recovers from that, he has no idea what has happened.
Exactly.
So we have seen all this growing up, and I continue to hear that these kind of things happen. So I think some of these aspects, the practices seem to have some commonality with at least the rest of South India. I can't talk for the North, but this is what I feel based on what you're saying. So that's very interesting.
So this is you said South Karnataka, right? So that you start from there to North Kerala.
Kerala, it's just borders.
So more or less same
practices are very similar. Malabar region probably.
Yes.
I don't know what you call it. Malabar,
Malabar
right?
region.
Yeah, so there are a lot of similarities.
And interesting part is it's not only the Brahmins or something. All the different communities have their own way of spiritual way of connecting
Rituals,
with the universe. And for example, in Kerala, there are Jyotishis and all. I don't know if you have heard about Prashnam.
Asking questions and getting their divine answers, right?
Yes.
I have heard in some context, but I'm not too familiar. It would be great if you can tell us
So
about
there are different kind of Prashnam. Some Tambula Prashnam, Ashtamangalya Prashnam, Deva Prashnam, like that.
Okay.
So I think Ashtamangalya Prashnam and all that is done by Nambutiris, I think. You need that sixth sense or whatever, I think. So this Prashnam, I heard that it's only in Kerala. So you ask a specific question and they find. So this happened recently in my husband's family also. So they did this Ashtamangalya Prashnam, and many things that the whole family have forgotten came out.
Okay.
And because of that they have certain issues. So you do this Pariharam and then it will be something like that. So they couldn't even remember initially. Then they thought about it and oh yeah, this happened, that some death, something.
That's amazing, like a lost, this is all lost knowledge which you get through some other form and it's authentic.
Yes, yes. So that is mostly done by so-called, Brahmins or Jyotishis and all that. But even the Vaka kind of things, they are not Brahmins. They also get that spiritual capability to go to that state and then tell something. And as you said, once they come out of that trance,
they have no idea. Correct. Yeah. We've seen this. Yeah. I mean, it can be quite frightening or scary if you're seeing it for the first time. You're not exposed to all this, but those who have seen it, I mean, I'm sure they know what I'm talking about. Yeah. So, but I think the movie Kantara has done a great service to at least the regional audience, because they have highlighted a lot of things which were till now considered very regional or very much restricted to a particular thing, and people wouldn't talk about it. But now everybody is very proud to be associated with those kind of happenings. So to that extent, I think the team of Kantara has done a great job.
This happens in Naga worship also. They do Sarpa Tullal.
Okay.
And that time it's mainly ladies.
Okay.
So depending upon whatever Tullal, they get that, they go into that state where they do it if you have Sarpa Dosham or something, and then they call all the Ashtanagams and all that. I recently went to see this in a neighbor's house. So it's amazing how suddenly somebody sitting next to you, they are casually talking and then suddenly they
get possessed.
They go into this state and they are aware, but they cannot control. Then they tell which Nagam or something like that and what they have to do. So this is done by again another community called Pulluva community.
Okay.
That they do it, they are the only ones who can do it, and they have a special instrument to music also to do this.
Seen a similar one, but this was inside Udupi Krishna temple. This is about a little over a year ago. So where, I think that region probably parallels to the Kerala border thing. So they also had this Naga dance where you have a Naga which is kind of captivated by a spirit, and how it gets caught and then how it's not able to come out, and then finally how it comes out. Very, very fascinating. We happened to be in the temple that day, so we watched it. So very beautiful. But yeah, I think these are, I'm sure there are some parallels in Tamil Nadu also. If we go and investigate, you will come across similar, maybe it's slightly different, but the concept will still be there. So I think to that extent, there are some of the temple practices are very, you can find parallels with what Kerala is doing and other things, but I think overall, the broader concept, they have tried to keep it, they have made it different, or it started out in a different way.
Evolved also. But now the bordering temples have mixed practices, I think.
Yeah, talking about the temples, another thing which is, quite striking is that apart from the major temples, the Mahakshetras like you mentioned, that is like Shabarimala, Guruvayur, Thiruvananthapuram, and a few other temples, Vadakunatha temple and all. The region has so many Devi temples, Bhagavati Amman temple, Chota Nikara, and they're all so famous, and what I've heard is they're extremely powerful. The tantric aspects apart, the kind of power that seems to be associated with them. So it's Why is how come that there are so many Devi temples in Kerala, and what is the reason behind them, and how do they what is their status in the community like that?
What I have noticed is most of these, lot of kings were there, no? So they used to have war and also trade. For these purposes, mainly Bhadrakali is worshipped
Okay.
in different forms. So, for example, this Mridanga Shaileshwari, I think that is Bhadrakali. So, this Devi is. Have you heard about Parashurama? He was a freedom fighter and all that. So he was the Kuladevata for. This Mridanga Shaileshwari Devi was the Kuladevata for Parashurama. So they used to offer just before going for war and all that. They used to pray. So I think that is one reason for this lot of Bhadrakali temples across.
For protection,
And prosperity in by trade and all that. So,
yeah, talking about Mridanga Shaileshwari, I think you'll be happy to know that Āścarya has done an episode on this particular deity. I think there are some very unique aspects associated with the deity. So, for the information of our viewers, we have done an episode a couple of years ago on this deity. We'll share the link in the description box. It's a very interesting episode, so it would be very nice if you can check it out and understand for yourself what's so unique about this temple. Yeah.
So there is a very interesting temple in Tirunelveli. It's called Paurnami Kavu.
Okay.
It's also called Akshara Devata temple.
Okay.
So why it is interesting is all the 51 Aksharas in Malayalam.
Aksharas means as in alphabets.
Alphabet goddess, you can say. So each of them have been given a Devata Sankalpam and consecrated there. The main deity is Bala Tripura Sundari, I think.
Okay.
Now I came to know about this temple when, after Chandrayaan 3 landed successfully. Our previous ISRO chairman, after a few days he went to this temple, and it seems he is a devotee of this Devi.
Okay.
And then media was talking about it
so it became famous.
Yes. So I was thinking, and I was surprised to see that, and it is open only on Paurnami days.
And what is the connection to Paurnami?
That's why Paurnami Kavu. It is open only on Paurnami days and for some special occasions.
Okay. One other thing which I have noticed is that the average Malayali Hindu, you find them with this sandalwood streak, the chandanam thing.
Yeah.
So I've also heard that they all go to the temple every morning, the nearby temple, and whether they pray to the deity or not, they go and apply this. This is what I've heard. So is it like that, or how different? Why is it so important for them?
Yeah.
For you all.
For some people I have seen, they just go to they start their day going to the temple, especially people who have small shops near or contractors who work, so they first go to the temple. But office going people, I think they are too busy, so the society has changed.
Evolving, yeah.
And maybe children have to go to school very early, so they are busy. But definitely for their birthdays or
special occasions
they go. For example, Shivaratri, Vishu, all these temples are very crowded. And festivals, definitely it's very crowded. And specific days, for example Fridays in Amman temples, Devi temples, very crowded. Then every Malayalam month, the first day, the first Friday, the first, those, they call it Muppattu Tingal, something like that. So that day, for each deity, one day is special, no? So that temple will have more
some
crowd.
Special.
Yeah. And then overall, I would say even though many Hindus are, educated in a Western kind of ideologies, but they still practice temple going as a
So that's
as a
not
regular
lost.
routine.
It's
That's
not lost to
lost.
modernization. That's
Yeah,
good to hear.
yeah. Even though some people will say I don't go to temple, but then they will say because of my family I have to go, something like that. So it's happening. I will not say we lost it.
Yeah, that's reassuring to hear, comforting, I should say.
Yeah.
So, how has this, while things have evolved, we have so many, I'm sure Kerala has a rich tradition of people who have lived in the past, who have done their bit, like you have the like Purandara Dasha, Kanaka Dasha in Karnataka, in Tamil Nadu you have the Alvars, the Nayanmars and all. They all have done a lot contributing towards the Bhakti movement in their own way. So how is it in Kerala?
Yeah, so it's very interesting. Bhakti movement happened in Kerala also in a big way.
Okay.
So, for example, Tunja Thirthachan, he is the father of Malayalam, we can say, because he is the one who gave us the script also, it seems.
I see.
So, Tunja Thirthachan, who wrote Adhyatma Ramayanam, means the Malayalam version of Ramayanam. So that is still that rainy season, every house it will be read.
Oh, that is very nice.
Yeah. So you have to finish the whole Ramayanam in that month.
Okay.
And so he is really, we all look up to him.
Okay.
And after that, connected to Guruvayur temple, there are a few personalities who were between 1550 to 1650, I can say.
Okay.
So
that tallies with the Bhakti movement in other states.
Yes.
Okay.
So
and Krishna, they were Krishna devotees.
Yes, Krishna devotees.
Yeah.
So one is Villumangalam Swamiyar.
Okay.
It seems he has seen Krishna.
I see.
And then you must have heard about Narayaniyam.
Yes, of course.
Melpattur Narayana Bhattadiri,
Yeah, heard of
who
him.
wrote it. So he was the disciple of Achyutan Pisharidi.
Okay.
And he was part of this Madhava of Sangama Grama, that school of astronomy and mathematics.
Okay.
So he was a very highly accomplished scholar, but he had this disease of, I think, related to some Parkinson's disease or something.
Okay.
So he wrote this Narayaniyam. He has written so many other very scholarly kind of kritis, but Narayaniyam is the most famous.
Popular, of course. Yes. If you think of Kerala and Krishna, Narayaniyam automatically.
Yes. And when you enter Guruvayur temple, you can see the place where he sat and wrote this. So he wrote this Narayaniyam. Basically, the story is somebody told him that you should pray to Guruvayurappan to get rid of this disease. So he asked Tunja Thirthachan himself what he should do. So Thirthachan, it seems, told him start from fish. So the messenger who came back, he couldn't tell Melpattur Narayana Bhattadiri because he's a Brahmin.
Yeah, so fish becomes
So finally he will tell. So that time Melpattur will say, I know what he meant. Because he meant Bhagavatam, no? So from Matsya Avataram to... So that is how each Dashakam is a summary of the big Bhagavatam chapter.
Right.
So Narayaniyam, by each Dashakam you can see he is asking Guruvayurappa, please cure my disease. That way. Then finally it seems he really got a darshan, because the way he is describing how the Guruvayurappan's form looks like, people say that it looks like he really got
seen him, he's had a vision.
Yeah.
That's very nice. Yeah.
And then at the same time there was another person who was not such a scholarly person. His name is Poondanam Nambudiri.
Okay.
So Poondanam was a devotee of Krishna also. There is a story connecting these two prominent people. So when Poondanam wrote this Jnanapana.
Okay.
It's a very Vedantic text but very simplified in Malayalam. We all grew up listening to that song sung by P. Leela.
Okay.
Every temple will have that in the morning. So he took it to Melpattur Narayana Bhattadiri and asked, can you please correct it? But Melpattur, being a Sanskrit scholar, he didn't have much respect for Malayalam. So he says, Bhasha Kavyam, you show it to somebody else, don't come to me. So Poondanam was very sad. So that then Melpattur will, what the story says, that he started getting the symptoms of his
Old disease.
And then it seems Guruvayurappan himself in a vision told him that more than your vibhakti, which is scholarship, I prefer the bhakti of Poondanam.
Straight from the heart.
Yes. So he realized his mistake and he asked for forgiveness and he helped him. About Poondanam, there are so many stories. His illam, that is his house, it is still preserved. There. You can go, it is in Malappuram district.
Okay.
So there was, once he was coming to see Guruvayur temple, that time lot of forest and all that, so some people will take away all his, loot everything from him. Then there is this one soldier kind of a person will come and he will say, he will save him and he will say, I am Mangatachan of Samutri king.
Okay.
So as a token of appreciation, Poondanam will give his ring to this person. And when he goes to the temple, the priest will get a vision that there is a ring in my finger, please give it to Poondanam, and he comes for darshan. So Poondanam was called by the priest and given, and he was really surprised. So as Mangatachan, who came was Lord Guruvayurappa himself.
So the ring is the same. What?
Yes.
Okay, that's where. I mean, it's a very.
It's a nice story. Yeah. These stories we grew up listening to. This. There is another lady. Her name is Kururama.
Okay.
Have you heard Kururama's story?
No.
So she was a widow. She got married when she was 16 or something, and her husband passed away. So those days when you are widow, you don't mingle much in the society. And I think her family also not much were around her. So she was living lonely in the house, but she was a great devotee of Krishna. So after some time, she is worshipping Krishna as the baby Krishna,
right,
who's running around like Yashoda's Krishna.
In that face, yeah.
Yeah, so running around, doing all mischievous things and everything. So Kururama never realized this is Krishna. She thought it is a neighborhood, one playful boy.
Oh, somebody comes and plays with her.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she will beat him and she will scold him, all that, and she will also feed him everything. So once she was making offering for Krishna, mixing something, and this boy will spoil the whole thing. No, he will mix everything.
Oh, okay.
So she was very angry. So she puts him in a big pot, and then finally she will feel sorry. He starts crying, so she will take him out, and then she will say, why did you do this and all that. And she had again separated that puja dravyam, and he will with a very mischievous tone, he will again mix it and run away. So it seems at that same time Villumangalam Swamiyar was trying to, wondering where Krishna has gone, because he can see Krishna, I believe. Then Krishna came running with all black marks on his body. So Villumangalam asked, what happened to you? He said, what to do? Kururamba put me inside a pot which had full of this charcoal.
Okay.
So, then Villumangalam realized that this lady is really in a very high spiritual state.
Yeah, and she doesn't even realize,
realize
how she's blessed.
Yeah. And
interesting.
These are some stories, some people. Then Adi Shankaracharya, you definitely know.
Of course, I know Adi Shankara. I think everybody knows about him. No? So, but if you have something different to share about him?
Maybe you have heard about how he was born in Vadakunada temple, his parents.
Yeah, I've heard, but it may be useful for our viewers to know the story background.
So Shiva Guru and Aryamba, his parents.
Okay.
So they had no children. So they go to Vadakunada temple and they...
That is near Palagat, right?
Near, that is in Thrissur.
Thrissur.
The
Okay.
center, Thrissur city.
Okay.
That is where all the Thrissur Pooram, everything.
Yeah. Okay.
So that is how he was born. So with maybe Shiva himself, we don't know.
Avatar, that's
Yeah.
what they say. Yeah.
Then recent ones are like there was Chattambi Swamigal, who was spiritually as well as he was instrumental in changing many practices that were affecting badly the Hindu community as a whole, especially the caste system and all that. It became too bad.
Okay.
At some point. So he was instrumental in changing it to, started the movement to change it. And then there was Sri Narayana Guru. He is really, like, I always feel that he didn't get enough prominence, how much he deserved. He did a lot. He also did a lot of temple prana pradishta and everything.
Okay.
But he was not a Brahmin. So, and he also instrumental in taking the Vedic concepts to the grassroots, all the different communities. And
so he is more recent or
he was
also
in early
about 100 years.
Yes.
Okay.
And I think he was there until 1930 or something.
Okay.
Yeah. Then Chinmayananda.
Yes, of course. I'll be honest to say that I came to know about his background only a short while ago. Of course, I've known about Swami Chinmayananda, but I was quite surprised to see that he was from Kerala.
Yeah.
So that was very interesting, to hear.
He was a very different personality, rebellious and all that, but
Exactly,
and
yeah.
a journalist.
Yeah.
But somehow he completely, I think he went to see Shivananda, Swami Shivananda.
And then he,
converted.
the change happened.
Changed. And he was instrumental in making Bhagavad Gita popular.
Yeah.
He did lot of Gita discourses
I
across
think
Kerala.
Chinmaya Mission, I think they're doing phenomenal work.
Yes.
So that is.
And then the recent Mata Amritanandamayi,
Amma.
their Amma is there. And there is so much of movement happening. So you can say from 50s, Hindus were abandoning all these practices. But now many things are coming back. The young generation is also getting interested, at least certain segments. And they are not into bhakti as such, but understanding and then trying to, very curious what it is. And so it's nice to see that young generation is also now interested in knowing more about their
That's
roots.
very comforting to hear, because when not getting into the depth of it, but the political environment in Kerala is very different compared to the rest. Even that is very different compared to the rest of the country. So so there is a lot at stake, and if you're saying the younger generation seem to be getting back into it, at least there is a start you're seeing. So I think that's very good to hear. As far as I think the common knowledge goes, you have so many things that are the legacy from the past. That is, apart from the temples, you have Ayurveda, which is again, it has its roots there. You have a spiritual connection, a religious connection there. Then you have these, of course, dance forms and all that, which all are, the roots are very similar.
Yes.
Right? So those, they should not lose the core meaning. So while it's good to scale them up and do different things, but the heart of the matter should still remain how it used to. So if that is happening in Kerala, then I think
I heard recently there is a temple, Dhanvantari temple.
Yes.
So all these fresh graduates from Ayurveda schools
Huh.
It seems they go there and sit there, meditate for some time.
Where is this temple?
It's it's in Thrissur
Okay.
district. So from Palakkad, when we go, it comes on the way.
Okay.
And there are some specific prasadams there. For example, there is a massage oil, which is again they do the puja and give you some medicines for different ailments. And there is a atta nivedyams, they will say. Even Bhagavan Murti himself is carrying one leech, the atta. So those days, before all these modern practices, it was used for purifying blood.
Okay.
So as a practice. And even previously, most Ayurveda Vaidyas, after they learn from their guru, for 1 year or more, they will go to some temple and they stay there doing meditation.
They get the spiritual connection.
That's some kind of sixth sense which will help them to diagnose better. Yeah.
So are they doing it now like that?
Now it is happening. So
it's coming back, or it always was there?
I think, I don't know in between what happened. So I visited this Dhanvantari temple recently. So they were telling us like they are making a special place for these Ayurveda doctors to come and do meditation. And even their special Venna Nivedyam, all those special offerings, it's all booked many years ahead by Ayurveda doctors as well as Ayurveda, the companies, the Coimbatore Ayurveda pharmacy kind of.
Yeah, in fact, I have heard that there are very few temples for Dhanvantari in the country, and I think Kerala has a few or one or two, I don't know. There is a Sannadhi for Dhanvantari in Srirangam temple in Tamil Nadu, and I think there are small temples inside these Ayurveda hospitals. I have seen it in Arya Vaidyashala in Coimbatore. But I think this seems to be unique, and it's very heartening to know that that culture is coming back. That you're recognizing the importance of the deity. Dhanvantari is one who cures you, who gives you good health. So and as an Ayurveda practitioner, so you have that connection between your local medicine, the practice, and the deity, so who's giving you the blessings. So good to hear that it's coming
this
back.
Temple is you can see even whatever prasadams you can buy from there are all many of them are related to different
There's one thing, sorry to interrupt, one thing which you mentioned, this oil. This is a different context. There is this temple in near Tirunelveli. It's a place called Nanguneri. It's one of the 108 Divya Desham Vishnu temples. So there they collect oil, what the devotees give. The oil is supposed done as abhishekam to the deity, and all the oil is collected and they store it in a huge tank. So you can go and see the overhead tank. And that oil they bottle it and sell it because it is done as abhishekam on the deity. And the belief is you apply that oil wherever you have some pain or you have some issue in your body, and over a period of time the problem is resolved. So I have myself got it a couple of times. I visited the temple and I've seen that oil container. So I think like that, of course this is a different practice. I mean the context is very different.
But similar, I think maybe. Like the Abhishekam and only, I think.
Possible, but I'm just saying so many different practices are there. It is each temple has its own unique identity, like what they're standing for, what they do. So it's very interesting to hear.
So nowadays these doctors may not be for 1 year plus, they will be going for a few days. So they wanted to give them a bit more facilities, so they are not bothered by anything else. They can just focus on their Dhyanam and then come out.
So thank you very much, Syamala, for taking time out and sharing your knowledge about Kerala with us. I think a lot of this, what you have shared with us, it's not, while it may be available on public space, but one should know what you want. Specifically, you should go hunting for it, which most of us would not be aware what to go and even search for. So in one shot you have given us a kind of walk into the temple environment in Kerala, so that extremely interesting to hear, especially considering Kerala's background, such a different state from the rest of the country. So thank you once again for that, for sharing all your detailed info with Āścarya viewers.
Thank you so much. It was nice. I mean, I myself don't know many things. I'm just scratching the surface, and daily it's a learning process. Very interesting. So much to know about our roots and why, what is there and why it is practiced. All these things. So, thank you so much for inviting me.
Our pleasure. And as you said, scratching the surface, I think many of us are in a similar situation. So we are trying to learn more and get back. We shouldn't be losing our past, and I think many of us are going in the right direction at least. So yeah, it's been, let's enjoy the journey.
Yeah.
And as a token of appreciation, here is a small
Thank you so much.
gift from Āścarya.
Thank you so much.
Thank you once again.